Hi there everyone, hope you had a fantastic weekend. Welcome to this week's video. This week is all about metaphors, and I want to share with you about the power of metaphors in being able to get your message across, getting cut through in your communication, and helping people to connect with what you're saying. So I love the quote by Oliver Wendell Holmes, who said, "The mind stretched by a new idea never retains its original dimensions." And I love that, because what happens is when you're going to your audience, and when you're going, particularly if you're going putting content on your intranet platforms, is that what we're having to do is lead people through that change. We're having to build trust, build connection, and how we do that is often through our language and the words we use, the energy that we have when we're giving content, particularly even videos. But one of the things that you can do, and a really powerful technique, is to use metaphors. And so today what I wanted to do is share with you a fantastic resource that you might find useful. Metaphors, this book is written by Dr. Marty Groth, and it's called Metaphors Be With You, an A to Z dictionary of history's greatest metaphorical quotations. So it's a book full of quotes, and it's quite thick. But when you've got metaphors, what happens is it just slices through the content. The average person we know can generally, they can take in or listen to about 650 words per minute, but they can only speak 150. So what we're trying to do is always get pretty incisive with how we speak, so that we can get that cut through and connection with them. The other thing too is that it's easily repeatable. So you'll find that your ideas, as you're trying to influence, persuade and connect and build trust and psychological safety, is a lot of these things kind of get repeated. So the metaphors make it really easy for messages to also travel. So, but what I want to do, it's one of my favorite books, and what I thought I would do is share with you 3 metaphors in here that might inspire you. This book is set up like a dictionary, and it's set up into themes. So for example, I've just opened up here, and here we are in hope. So if I'm looking for a metaphor around hope, you can see expectation, fear, wishes, and wishing. So the benefit of a metaphor too is that how it works is that when you're trying to get your audience to understand something that perhaps they've never come across before, what you need to do is explain it in a concept that is something that is familiar to them, and then it will help them to really understand what you're saying. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. I've got 3 here for you. So the first one here is, I've gone under advice, which is this one here. And oh sorry, not advice, I'm a page ahead. Adversity is the topic I'm in, and so I could also go to like difficulties, obstacles, problems. And the quote I've got here is by Vincent van Gogh, where he says, "What molting time is to birds, so adversity or misfortune is for us humans." And that's so true. Isn't that a really simple way to try and understand about adversity? It's like molting for birds, is that it's like a shedding. So and it also is a really unique way sometimes to give your worldview. Sometimes I would never thought of that, molting for birds. So the other one I've got is I'm in the category of fear. And I love this one from Faye Dunaway, who says, fear is a pair of handcuffs on your soul. Isn't that powerful? And it is like that. It's almost like it's bringing your idea to life. It's bringing your message to life. It's like an artwork. It's like painting. So here we go with metaphors. I used to be so bad at these. I was so left brain when I started, and I really struggled. So I really relied on books like this. There's a couple of websites on metaphors. And like you can imagine your audience kind of go, yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. That's what it feels like to me. Does it feel like that to you? Wow, okay, we are connected. We are the same. We understand each other. You get me. I trust you. So these unconscious messages are what starts to come in, and so that you can create the influence and the change that you're trying to make. This last one here that I found I really like. This one's under risk and risk taking. and it's attributed to Elizabeth Apple. And there's a note at the bottom that says almost all internet sites mistakenly attribute this quotation to the celebrated diarist Anaïs Nin. And she says, and the day came when the risk to remain closed in a bud became more painful than the risk it took to blossom. And I like, even that's such a fantastic quote and a metaphor for around change. So I hope that this is something that you might find useful. It's one of my favorite books. It's a pretty hefty little book, but it's a wonderful one to have on your bookshelf because it's got such a quick reference guide if you're stuck and you're trying to get a message across. So I hope that helps. I'd love to hear if it's useful for you, if there's other sites perhaps you use, or maybe even if you bought it. I reckon it's a great one for leaders to have on their bookshelf at their desk, because sometimes you just need some inspiration to get that message through. So I'll see you next week, and hope you have a great rest of this one.